All right, today is Thursday, March 30th, and I had three trades today. I was 1 for 3. Two of them were pretty rough and made bad decisions, and then one of them was actually a pretty awesome trade. So excited to break that down. I did finish the day $96 green, and now my Apex evaluation account is at 50,100. So still have a lot of ways to go, but actually in the green now, so we can actually have something to be happy about. So we'll start here and do the journal aspect of it. So 3 trades today. My first trade was before the market opened, and this was just stupid. I had no reason to do this. What time was this? Around 8:30 this morning. And I saw volume starting to pop up this morning, and I had just set my levels, and it looked like we were breaking through my overnight high, which I had here on, let's see. So we were approaching this overnight high here, and I longed here thinking, we were going to break through and actually have some movement above 40.83 over here. That was just a mistake. Got out pretty quickly, moved my stop loss, realized that was kind of dumb. And then my second trade didn't happen pretty much until 2 o'clock this afternoon. And I made $167 on this trade, and I was pretty happy with this one. I think this may have been one of the best trades I've taken in quite some time. And what's really nice is I actually waited. My first trade, the really kind of crappy trade was at 8:30 this morning, and then the actually good trade happened for me around 2, right at 2 o'clock. So I did wait most of the day, just being patient. But what we were dealing with today was we were having we had a gap close that we were dealing with. So we opened up above yesterday's high. And so I was originally planning on playing the gap down to yesterday's high of day at 40.61. And I just didn't like the chop that was happening. And it just looked... we spent a lot of time chopping in through here. I didn't like the price action for most of the morning. The moves didn't seem to actually have any commitment of any sorts. So I just stayed on the sidelines, stayed cash, didn't have to worry about it, and didn't bother doing any of that stuff. The trade happened at the very bottom here at 2 o'clock. So what I was doing was I actually waited for the gap to fill, and I waited for this... a couple of confirmations here. The first confirmation was this hammer candle, and really right almost exactly at the exact gap fill. And then I waited to see some buying pressure here, and let's see exactly where I got long. I actually got long on this candle here. We were breaking this previous level right here. I felt really comfortable about entering here, and then this was a pretty slow process, but it was a pretty steady grind up, which was really nice. I could have gotten in sooner, but I still wanted a little bit more confirmation down here. And so being able to almost pick the bottom of this, I ended up riding this up a really good bit. And I went long 5 contracts. And so I started to kind of take profits as I went up. So my first profit taking was... let's see, right at this level here, probably at 40.72. Started to see a little bit of a slowdown here going into VWAP. I wasn't sure how we were going to react off of VWAP. So I started taking a couple of profits here. And then I think I took 2 off here. I let 2, I took 2 off. And then I took another 1 off on this red candle here. So I had 3 off, and I had 2 runners. And at this point, I was targeting 40.85, which was just past the overnight high. But if we look at earlier in the day, we had run into some issues with 40.85. So this is 40.85 here, and this was the previous level of resistance. So I was hopefully going to get up to 40.85, and see, that was my original target, but that ended up not working. And so I left 2 runners. And if we go over here, let's see, we can see to some extent, I was expecting a pullback also. So we did end up breaking through VWAP with some buying pressure. There had been a seller also sitting at 40.80 pretty much most of the day, who was keeping a lot of the buyers in check, and it seemed like the buyer or the seller ended up selling a good bit. We kind of hovered around VWAP, so I still was holding on for a little bit just to seeing how it would react to VWAP, and then maybe we'd take off again. But ended up not seeing anything I liked here, so I finished taking off the last two contracts in this area right here. Overall, I still felt really good about the trade. I think if I could look back, a couple of things I would change about the trade. I probably should have taken more off here and just treated it more like a scalp, and really at like the first sign of pullback, just go ahead and take it off. I still am doing the evaluation on Apex, so I still have that trailing threshold for basically the liquidation of the account, and I probably should have sized up, just considering how much conviction I had about this trade. I felt extremely good about this trade. I was keeping an eye on the gap fill all day. I was watching for confirmation. I got the confirmation and I got in. So as far as like trades are concerned, this was one of my better trades, and I should have had enough conviction to actually size up. So maybe instead of trading 5 MES, I could have traded 1 ES contract. But hindsight's whatever. I did make $167 on that trade. And the other mistake on that is I should have stopped trading after I made that trade. I should have been done, but I wasn't. So the next trade I lost $60. And the reason I lost $60 is because I was trading right up in this area here. So I started to see more buying pressure around VWAP again. We broke above VWAP, and I was trying to get long right here. And I was, again, targeting 40.83, 40.85, and ended up not getting that and just ended up getting out on this candle here. So overall, just not a good decision. I should have just been okay with that trade, finish on a good note, be done for the day, take my $160 or $150 in profit, and just be done for the day. But I think this was just a little bit of greed slipping in, because some part of me was like, I made $165. Can I get more? And I just wanted to get more, and just feels a little greedy. So that was, I think, this last trade was a psychological mistake and not necessarily a technical mistake. So something to keep an eye on in the future is post good trades. Just take what you can from the market, be done, and then end on a good note and not get stuck with the greed afterwards of thinking, what else can I take from the market? Because that's textbook greed, and greed and fear are two of my biggest psychological issues in the market. So they need to be addressed. But at least here, I can pinpoint the exact moment I had greed and wanted to take more from the market, and I got punished. So that is why I finished the day at $96 and not $150. So that's something to look into, psychologically speaking, just keeping things straight. But otherwise, today was a pretty good day for me. I felt very good about that trade, and excited to see what we've got tomorrow. That's it. Peace.